time to talk about pay period 21, the week that ended May 20th. Let's talk about it. Coming up.
Starting on the logs page, I had 3708 dispatched miles, 2701 logged miles, 2703 odometer miles. Again, there's a 1,000-mile discrepancy. That's because I had carryover, and I was on home time on the last 2 days of the week, so this is truly a 5-day week. My average speed was 57 miles per hour. Now, that's my average net speed, not what the cruise control was set at. Taking a look at my unedited pay statements, this is for the pay statement for week number 21 of the year. This is the pay period that ended on 5/20/23. Trip number 1 went from Fort Recovery, Ohio to Laredo, Texas. Trip number 2 went from Laredo, Texas to New Bremen, Ohio. Trip number 3 went from Fort Recovery, Ohio to Shadydale, Georgia, and had a stop in Chattanooga, Tennessee and Duluth. Looking at my unedited pay statement, this is week number 21 for the week that ended on May the 20th, 2023. That first run from Fort Recovery, Ohio terminal to Laredo, Texas, paid $943 for 1,447 miles. The second run went from Laredo, Texas to New Bremen, Ohio, paid $972 for 1,473 miles. The third trip went from Fort Recovery, Ohio to Shadydale, Georgia, my home, had stops in Chattanooga, Tennessee, Duluth, Georgia, Pendergrass, Georgia, Beaufort, Georgia, paid a total of $591 and had 763 miles. And this is that fourth trip I was telling you about. It really was out of order. This was where I went from New Bremen, Ohio to Fort Recovery Terminal. It paid $13.33 for 23 miles. In summary, the empty miles was $41, the handling and securement $24, loaded miles $23.20, stops $134. That gave $25.21 as the gross pay, 3,708 dispatch miles, or 68 cents per mile. Year to date, so far we've had 21 weeks. Gross income is $45,246. Total miles, 59,027. That gives an average gross income of $2,155 and average miles of 2,811. Multiplying those by 52 gives an annual estimation of 112,060 and miles of 146,172. Taking a look at the calendar. So far in May of 2023, there have been 14 days work, 5 days at home, and 1 day on the road. Year to date, worked is 102 days, home is 25, and 13 days for off-road resets. Looking at the overtime calculator, remember, we're not actually paid overtime. It's an interesting calculation just to look at if this was compared to a normal job. This week, I had $2,521. I worked 51.5 hours. That would have been 40 hours of regular time, 11.5 hours of overtime. My rate of pay would have been $44.02 if you factor overtime, $48.95 if you looked at straight time. My year-to-date income is $45,246. I have worked 1,322 hours year-to-date. That's 959 regular hours, 363 overtime hours. Now, keep in mind, that is based on 40 hours per week, and I calculate it weekly so that that overtime calculation works the way it's supposed to. $30.10 would be the effective pay rate per hour with overtime factored in, $34.10 on straight pay.
One of the problems that I have with truck driving, and I think many people have, because if you notice, a lot of truck drivers are a little on the robust side. They've enjoyed a little bit too much food out here, what they call comfort food or junk food, and it's resulted in weight gain. And it happens. Now, I've lost some weight out here, and I plan to keep losing some more. But I've got to lose that weight by making conscious decisions not to eat junk. I removed all the cooking devices from my truck. I don't have my stove on there anymore. I don't have my microwave/convection oven. All I have is a Hot Logic Mini, a kettle that can boil water, and my coffee pot. The idea being that I'm going to cook everything in the Hot Logic Mini, and I'm going to pick meals that are a little bit healthier than what you find out here at the truck stops. That's not an easy road. but it's what we have to do if we want to keep from gaining weight. Because with weight gain comes things like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, heart attacks, you know, all that other fun stuff. And I'd prefer not to have any of that happen. So I'm going to be starting a new series, and it's going to have a video where I do one of the meals that I eat during the week. And I have a video, and I'll link it up above, where I talk about the Hot Logic Mini. It's something I like a lot. You just simply throw a frozen meal or a refrigerated meal in there and plug it into your cigarette lighter. 2 hours later, 4 hours later, 6 hours later, it takes 2 hours to cook, stays good for another 4 or 5 hours after that. So you can plug it in, drive on down the road, and then when you get where you're going, open it up and you've got dinner. That's my kind of way to make a meal. Hope you guys will follow along as I put those out. And, you know, I agree, it's not the same as if I make them myself. Probably have more sodium in them, but that's all right. I can afford to increase the sodium a little if it causes me to lose the weight, and then later work on making my own healthier meals at home, figuring out how those things are sealed, and bringing my own meals out on the truck every couple of weeks. Until next time, make sure you're enjoying every day at work.